afternoon, Colorado Mesa University, and welcome back to another episode of Crossing the Line. I'm your host, Matt Entrikin, and with me is Sean Sullivan. Sean, don't got too much to talk about.
Yeah, we go away for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and it seems the sports world has somewhat fallen asleep a little bit on us.
I know. No baseball, no basketball, not much football, right?
I hope just the people at home can understand our heavy amounts of sarcasm in this. As we go away for 1 week and the sports world absolutely explodes on us. We have stories on stories, and it's time for us just to dive right into them, Matt.
Let's dive into it then. Topic number 1 of the day. One man in the NFL has been especially dangerous, and that is Russell Wilson, who was involved in the blockbuster trade going to the Denver Broncos. So today we asked the question, just how dangerous will he be in Denver? Sean, what do you think?
Well, if you're Broncos fans, this is the absolute best case scenario because, Russell Wilson, a lot younger than Aaron Rodgers. All the pieces sort of fell into place after Rodgers decides to re-sign with the Packers. And you got to be happy for Broncos fans because the general manager, George Patton, said that his goal is to be aggressive this year and try to get a franchise quarterback. And mission accomplished. You give away a lot of assets, but the pros are just so much better than the cons with this one. Russell Wilson, is that missing link that the Broncos need to, maybe make even a run for the Super Bowl. Definitely a playoff team. The offense was already, it was very stagnant. You can blame play calling that on quite a bit. But when you get a player like Russell Wilson that can simply just make stuff happen, the Broncos, you'd like to think, have enough pieces in place with Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and in my opinion, one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle this year for the Broncos in this upcoming season, that's Javonte Williams. He's that beast mode-like running back that Russell Wilson's used to have in the backfield in Seattle with Marshall Lynch was there. So you have a fantastic running game. The offensive line is slowly but surely getting better and better every single year. You got to give a lot of credit to Mike Munchak for totally revamping the offensive line for the Broncos. And with Russell Wilson, you have to think the sky's the limit. The defense is already pretty solid. You got a lot of really good pieces in the secondary with Justin Simmons and Patrick Surtain. So, maybe a couple more pieces on the defensive side, and the sky's the limit here with the Broncos, Matt.
Sean, I agree with you. Russell Wilson, of course, is a tremendous addition to the Denver Broncos. But I'm a little bit worried because since the interception in that Super Bowl, Russell Wilson throws the pick on the 1-yard line, the only pick from the 1-yard line that season. He has won just 3 playoff games. 12 other quarterbacks have won more than Russell Wilson. And those 3 playoff games that Russell Wilson did win, they go like this. Won 10-9 when Blair Walsh missed that field goal, 30-yard field goal.
Classic.
Mm-hmm. Win over Lions, which of course means nothing. And then a 17-9 win over a McCown-led team. Now, I understand Russell Wilson, he's been an elite player for a decade, but he has done nothing since that Super Bowl game. I'm just worried, John. I'm just worried.
Well, yeah, look on the flip side, though. What has Seattle done for Russell Wilson? You get rid of Richard Sherman. You get rid of Earl Thomas. Cam Chancellor retires, and now you cut Bobby Wagner, which obviously I know Russell Wilson's gone at this point. They had Tyler Lockett, and people are hyped up about DK Metcalf because he can run fast and he's big, but he hasn't been a premier wide receiver by any stretch of the imagination. Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson's been fairly well documented since about the past 2 seasons. They do not see eye to eye. They have different levels of expectation. And look at, you can compare this a lot to Detroit Lions last year when they cut Matthew Stafford. It was time to move on from Matthew Stafford and start the rebuild. Seattle Seahawks, it's time to cut Russell Wilson and start your rebuild. And what happened to the Rams, Matt? What did the Rams do this season? Would you like to inform me, please?
Hold on. You're talking about
what did they do? What did they do?
They're talking about the Detroit Lions. Don't talk about the Detroit Lions as an example that the Seahawks should be following. Everybody knows the Lions are not an example that people should be following.
I'm not saying the Lions are examples that people should be following, but where did Matthew Stafford go, Matt? Where did he go? He went to the Los Angeles.
The Los Angeles Rams.
And the Los Angeles Rams are the defending Super Bowl
have already been successful for multiple years in a row. The Denver Broncos have not.
Well, you can blame that a lot on coaching staff. We didn't have a Sean McVay. We didn't have a Brandon Staley when he was there.
We have a brand new, unproven coach.
I'm excited for Nathaniel Hackett. This dude's saying all the right things. Obviously, talks only one thing, but I don't know. I just feel like the dangerous potential is very high.
The Broncos have been following the right recipe. They've been following all the directions, putting the flour in the right amounts, putting the right amount of eggs, beating them, all that. Getting Nathaniel Hackett on a good offensive coach, but like I said, unproven. And Russell Wilson, He's kind of following the same steps Cam Newton did. Went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, do you just compare
Terrible
Russell
game.
Wilson to Cam Newton?
I did. Hey, Cam Newton's former MVP. Everybody thought he was going to be elite.
Oh,
He
my
was elite for a
goodness.
time. Russell Wilson, has he really been truly elite
I mean, there's only a few
as of late?
There's only a few players in this league that have stayed elite for so long and have maybe even reached GOAT level. And we had a GOAT return, didn't we, Matt?
A GOAT did return. Possibly the GOAT of GOATs. As you may know, Tom Brady, after just 40 days, has called off his retirement and is coming back to the NFL to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and try to get that coveted 8th Super Bowl ring. So now we ask, Tom Brady is back, but is he better? Sean, what do you think?
This one was really surprising to me. I did not think Tom Brady was going to come back. I thought the way the whole retirement thing played out where, Shefty dropped the Shefty bomb, well, the dud now Shefty bomb a little early. There was that 2-day gestation period where everybody was like, Tom Brady's done. All the media accounts are singing his praises, first ballot Hall of Fame, this and that. But I don't know if you agree with it. It just seemed a little weird. It seemed like it was not to say too good to be true, but I thought the way it was announced and released was a little odd. But I did think Tom Brady was going to stay retired. And obviously he surprised all of us. He wants one more run, maybe 2 more runs at this point. But I'm not necessarily jumping on this Tampa Bay's now the NFC frontrunners bandwagon because, in that playoff game against the Rams in the wild card where they ended up losing, or the divisional rounds where they ended up losing, whatever it was, Brady didn't play that well. He had those 3.5 quarters where he really didn't do anything. He ran out of time. He was doing Tom Brady things towards the end. But Tampa Bay just seemed flat. They just seemed like they were defeated. They seemed like they knew this may be it for Brady. So I really feel like, Tom Brady, is he back? Yes, but is it going to be the Tom Brady of old? He's 45 years old. Who knows if he has it still?
I mean, Sean, I noticed you neglected the last half quarter that Tom Brady played in that playoff game. You want to talk about the first 3.5 quarters, but didn't talk about how he was really one miraculous Matthew Stafford touchdown and pass away from defeating the would-be Super Bowl champions. Now, with that being said, I'm going to start this off by saying exactly what Michael Caine said in the movie The Prestige when Hugh Jackman started to go all in saying, "Obsession is a young man's game." Tom Brady, you are not a young man. Now, with that being said, Tom Brady being back is great for football. Nobody really wants to see Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert playing quarterback for the Buccaneers.
I mean, Kyle Trask, SEC champion runner-up, man. Come on.
There's a lot of conference champions in the world.
That is true.
Sean
That is
doesn't mean
true.
they're going to make great quarterbacks. But still, great thing for football. Tom Brady obviously can still win football games, make things interesting, make the NFL money. I'll be watching. I mean, I'm not going to watch the Buccaneers if Kyle Trask. Well, I might watch Kyle Trask for once, but I'm not going to watch Blaine Gabbert. That's for sure.
Brady does pull in the money, does pull in the viewers, and yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen here? We do know that there is going to be an NFL season, like there almost was an MLB season.
That's right. But alas, there is going to be a baseball season after a who knows how long lockout separated the players from starting spring training and almost from starting the season. But nevertheless, baseball is back. But we ask, baseball, should we take it or should we scrape it? Sean, what do you think? What's the state of Major League Baseball?
I honestly think a fairly good argument can be made that baseball and MLB as a whole were more exciting when it was locked out and when it was canceled. It was one of the highly talked about talking points in all the major sports syndicated networks that, Rob Manfred's a what. He's just not doing the right things for baseball. He's destroying the sport. And it was really fun to talk about. And it was kind of cool to see, we may not have an MLB season, which obviously is a bummer for the players. Absolutely. But was it pretty exciting? It sure was. And, now that baseball's been back for about a little bit over a week, it's kind of fizzled out a little bit. I mean, we were talking about it a little bit earlier today. We both didn't know that Max Scherzer has signed with the with the Mets. We didn't know that, which is good for the Mets because when inevitably Jacob deGrom gets hurt, you have Scherzer. But when inevitably Scherzer gets hurt, you maybe still have Noah Syndergaard. And then, it's just the talking points for baseball were a lot more exciting when baseball was canceled or temporarily put on hold, I should say.
Well, of course, the buzz fizzled out, man. It's not even April yet. We're still in spring. No one talks about spring training, man. Look, baseball is fine. It's America's pastime. See, in this new generation of humanity, we need to be constantly entertained. We need to be constantly stimulated. That's the things that like hockey, basketball, football provide. But baseball is the ultimate bonding of humanity. World War II. The green light letters were sent when a commissioner of baseball asked the president, should we keep baseball going? And he's like, the president says, yes, because America needs baseball. We need this. Now, we're not in quite the same situation, but we're still sort of in wartime, and nevertheless, we need baseball.
You're saying what we need to solve all of life's biggest problems is for the Dodgers and someone else to make it to the World Series? We know whoever's going to buy the best team is going to make it to the World Series.
Is that different from any other sport?
Moneyball was a great movie, but Moneyball isn't working anymore. No one's deciding to build these good
Tampa
teams.
Bay Rays.
Yeah, but there's still someone in there. They have glass now and everything. But all I'm saying is that it's going to be in the Dodgers, it's going to be the Sox, and it's going to be White or Red Sox at this point, or the Yankees, because they buy the best team. All I'm saying is, like, those are the talking points when baseball is happening. So when baseball wasn't happening, we could talk about other things.
Hey, you can make an argument that the best championships in sports come from baseball because those are where the least amount of like big market teams come. Now, I know the Dodgers have been big in the last few years, but in the last 2 decades, the Dodgers and the Yankees have actually been relatively out of the picture. For like the first 2018, Dodgers weren't in the picture. For the last decade, Yankees haven't been in the picture. We got the Rays making noise. We've got the A's kind of creeping back up a little bit. Now, they haven't really cracked the surface, but they're right there.
Yeah, who knows? We're going to have hopefully some new champions in the MLB, but we had some champions here on campus, didn't we, that we need to shout out?
We absolutely did. And as we go into our shout out today, I'm going to kick things off with a shout out to the CMU men's and women's swim and dive team who went to nationals over this past weekend. The women came in 5th place overall, the men in 6th. And we had a national champion in the 200-meter backstroke going to Lily Nordinghammer. So, Lily, congratulations. You made us all proud in the Grand Valley. Keep doing your thing, and we expect to see you in the Olympics in just a couple years.
Absolutely. A lot of good things happening on campus in the world of CMU sports. I'm going to shout out the softball team here on campus as they swept the Fort Lewis Skyhawks 4-0 in the series, outscored the Skyhawks 45-5 in the 4-game series. If that's not domination, I don't know what is. 3 of the games went to Mercy Rule, where we won. We had 2 grand slams in this series, one going to Elliot Smith and one going to Ava Fugate. Great job, ladies. Keep it up as they take on probably the losing team Wednesday at 5 o'clock here on campus.
Great time to be a Maverick, Sean.
It's always a great time to be a Maverick.
Always. This is the life. All right, guys.
We're living life right now.
We're living
life.
All right, guys. That is going to do it for us today on Crossing the Line. Have a good rest of your week. I'm Matt Entrican.
I'm Sean Sullivan. We'll see you next week. Peace.